Affairs Department of the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Today is August 4, 2021. The name is Augustine Saah presenting. In the top stories we are following this afternoon, a legal practitioner, Councillor Arthur Johnson, seeks for the resignation of Liberia National Bar Association's President, Councillor Tewan Gonglo, following Councillor Jimmy Bumbo's petition for him to contest the presidency. Report from Grand Bassa County says a local journalist who was charged for criminal conspiracy has been acquitted from the crime. And elsewhere, Africa Coast President Alassane Ouattara is in self-isolation after being in contact with someone who had tested positive for COVID-19, the presidency has said. We take a break. When we come back, we go into the context to speak with our correspondents. Thanks for being there. As you may have heard in our intro, we are getting report from Grand Bassa County that journalists within that area has been acquitted of terroristic threats. But let's talk to RCI Grand Bassa County correspondent Edis Anamusa. Edis, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Augustine, and good afternoon to many listeners across the length and breadth of Liberia.
Edis, who is that journalist that has been acquitted of some allegations, or if not crimes, leveled against him?
Well, he's he's Hawkins Tupa. He worked for We Radio sometime around 2017 up to 2020, where he left We Radio. He was based on his online platform. But it all happened when the little 15-year-old boy who was allegedly murdered on Compound on the 27th of July, we protest, where the people were set up based on last week, Saturday. In that process, the police were arrested, and he was also on the scene trying to cover the story. He was also arrested with the guys who were arrested and brought to Buchanan City. So yesterday, the President Basel chapter was able to intervene to find more. And this morning we went to the appeal and became a sure court. He was acquitted by the court.
How long has the proceeding for the allegation of criminal mischief and terroristic been ongoing within that area?
It's been around. It's also in a very strange. People sometimes when things happen, just a recent Saturdays when they heard that one of their police was stabbed by less notorious criminal, Triple Two. They also had, one on the rampage, right down people home. So it's not something very strange in Grand Bassa County been happening. And so it's something that need to be addressed according to citizens about call from the citizens, in terms of people getting angry, taking the law into their own hands. People are actually condemned that. So it all took up on Saturday when the guy fell disenchanted where the little 15-year-old battle Jacobs were killed in compound number 3.
Now, one would be wanting to know, how did this journalist render some threats, maybe to a citizen within the county? Did he do it through his platform that is sitting on the radio, or that was done within some kind of public debate?
Well, according to the information we gathered, on his Facebook page, there, he made some threat that he would just say it's not served into the matter. Then they were born a rampage. That's the allegation that was never against him. But when I pushed Hawkins Toba, he said it was false and misleading. He made a story as it relates to the incident on that Saturday. So that's why.
What kind of incident are you talking about?
The incident there was a protest, huge protest that brought every activity on the copper standstill on Saturday, where angry crowd burned down, the vehicle of the late Battle Jacobs' father, Mark Jacobs, on ground that he was in haste to go and get the body and go bury the body. So where he alleged that maybe he had him into the little boy death, so he burned down his jeep. So that's how the police started to carry out arrest. And in that process, he too was on the scene, according to him, being reported. and he was also apprehended because he's like freelance journalist now, and he had no article to show that he is the institution from. That's why he was arrested and charged along with those who were actually arrested during the incident.
During the conference, you ever had a member, or if not a representation from the president of Liberia there?
Come again with the question.
Did you have a representation from the president of Liberia there during the conference?
Yes, indeed, we did. I was also part of it as the acting secretary general, and of course the acting coordinator of this was that way. Yesterday we all went and filed a poem. Then later on this morning, we proceeded at the become my short home, where the county attorney office, heard the sound of the journalists, and people who actually know the journalists were able to, testify that he is a journalist actually were on the scene, to do some report, and that's how with no delay was quoted.
Just before we leave you, is there any other thing that you want to talk on?
Well, so far, let me say thank you for having me, and we will gradually follow happening in the county. In case of any other development, then we will let you know.
Okay, Alexander Musa is our CI Grand Bassa County correspondent. Let's now cross over to Upper Maigebe County, where we are getting report this afternoon from James Mertenberg that the superintendent of that county, in person of Superintendent Jerry Varney, yesterday placed a halt on a fence that was built trying to protect a market that is situated behind the police station, the Kakata police station. James, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, and let me say good afternoon to our minister.
James, what are we hearing about a halt that was placed on a market construction that was ongoing yesterday by Superintendent Jerry Varney? How did it go, and why did he?
Thank you. As you didn't know, for the past 3 days now in Maigebe County, there have been misunderstanding when it comes to the termination of the Kakata police station market. There was a market building that was constructed by the movement of People Change and a Zora group from a political group from our Prince Kennedy Red, and subsequently a bottom district number 3 representative, the person for Elling Ator Red. So that market building have been there, and during the weekend, especially Saturday, the market can be overcrowded by the sellers for all work of Kakata. And so the said mayor, Kim Sorry, on Monday night, he went about bringing that market down, right? And citizens or those who normally sell there went on a rampage calling on the county leadership and their lawmakers to have a quick intervention. And that was on Monday, where the lawmaker, the president at all, visited a long-time meeting with the local leadership, our superintendent and county inspector. After that, they all drove to the bureau and they inspected the market building that was brought down by the city mayor, and they also went to the general market and they went to the Vata market that was constructed by James Emmanuel Mukwe. But the statement that was made by the honorable lawmaker that she was going to reconstruct that building immediately, that is on Tuesday. So the marketeers on the general market to them that they follow any aftermath, rebuild that market. They will not stay in the general market. They will all come on the ministry of Kakata to join the rest of the marketeers to sell. So on our background, yesterday morning, surprisingly, about 7 o'clock, the marketeers for the general market blocked the main route that lead to Monrovia. It was blocked by the marketeers, and now the road that lead to Pullman is also blocked.
So on what grounds did the mayor of that city demolish that market?
Yeah, the mayor said that place is a major route that lead to CS Hospital, number CS Hospital, International Airport. That is so that is normally you come over during the weekend, but then at Kakata police station, you will find your way out easily before you even motorbike to go through. That place has been like jam packed on a daily basis. So the mayor took Thursday necessary to demolish that building, that particular market building, so that another place can be free. And sometimes the mayor said that it's also a threat to the security, because you can have a section and you have a market building and all marketeers all around the police station. So it's also a good sign. That's what the mayor was normally saying to citizens of that area. So after that demolition, the two market group now, the marketers for the police station are hearing already at all for the decision that she took by rebuilding the market. Then the marketers who are the general market are already been a few months back, they are now saying, at all, it's making an attempt at reconstructing that market. They will take on the street, and that one when they started the reconstruction of that market on yesterday, they had no alternative for the general market to block the new ramp. So the superintendent was going to talk to them yesterday, and immediately the superintendent talked to them the left about 11:45 yesterday morning when they went by the market. The superintendent went down to the construction engineer of that market on yesterday to tell them that they should stop.
So as it stands,
a suitable discussion point if the market will be constructed, but it shouldn't be immediately as they were on yesterday.
So as it stands, there's halt placed on the construction of the market.
Yes, that has been put out to say yesterday from the superintendent office when he gave all the instructions to them to post up to the construction of that market. So as we speak now, the reconstruction of that market has come to a standstill.
Okay, thank you. James Mettenberg is RCA Upper Mikey County correspondent. Let's now take this development just before we go to Grand Cape Mount County, where Otis Camara is reporting this afternoon that the Maswa Bridge in Dambala Town, the home of the late Senator Edward Akosa, is now a complete death trap. But let's bring you this development just before we link up with Otis Camara. A former Deputy Police Inspector General for Operations has termed series of protests across the country as good sign for the Liberian democracy. Speaking on news and analysis Tuesday, Saah said continual protest under the George Weah-led government shows that democracy is working in Liberia. Body, who is RCA's security analyst, further stated that those involved in these protests must do so in line with the Constitution and other laws of the country. Let's now cross over to Grand Cape Mount County, where Otis Camara is this afternoon, telling us about a death trap. Otis, good afternoon, welcome.
Thank you, Augustine, for having Grand Cape Mount County on your program.
What do you mean when you say a bridge in that town is a complete death trap?
I actually mean that this bridge is about to collapse. That's what I mean. And this trap we're talking about, when I visited the area just over the weekend, Damala, as directly said, the hometown of the listener for everyone that goes there, went under the bridge, and when you go under that bridge, you see the bridge sticking off, so it tells you that it is indeed a death trap. And I did not only stop there too, some residents of Damala, and they said that bridge was constructed in the 60s. And yes, under that bridge we have the Maswa Creek, and that was the name that they gave after the bridge, the Maswa Bridge. And that bridge also has a historical car. In the past, what we gather from one of the elders of that community, the people normally go on that bridge or into the creek to worship a devil called Mama Sengier.
Okay.
And that whatever he needs, they have, sometimes they have their farming season and they want for the crops to bear, so they go and worship Mama Sengier. And after the worship that they will normally do there in those days, the devil will come out of the water and the prayers will be answered. So it tells you that area is after the historical area in Grand Cape Mount County. So when they come of this, condition of the bridge, the people are concerned because this bridge connects citizens from Popat district and that of Tiwon district. And it is challenging because they have an area called Bikiwuru, and Western Lilian normally come in the market gate in Bambala town. So they all use that particular bridge. So we are only calling on the national government, especially so the statutory superintendent of that particular Popat and Blackwater district sanctuary, so that they can have speedy intervention. So he told me that he said his assistant superintendent for development there over the weekend to do an assessment, and the assessment was done by the statutory district authorities, and before that, their own report to the county superintendent on the area of Benson onward to the innocent encounter affairs, but at the same there has been no intervention, that have been made on that bridge.
What kind of bridge are we talking about? Footpath bridge or a bridge wherein you can have vehicles if there are motors applying?
Yeah, we have a vehicle flying on that particular bridge. It's not only, commuters. We have vehicles flying there. The locals normally walk over that bridge and the rest of that. But the worst thing about here, as God said, when it is raining season, sometimes the water gets full and reach on top of the bridge.
Okay.
That even makes sometimes people, the place become impassable for the locals. Yeah, because whenever the water is full, it covers the bridge, and then normally you will not see the bridge again, so it becomes difficult for people to even travel there. So during that time, you see nobody traveling, over that bridge. Any vehicle will not travel there again. So that's the condition we're talking about here.
Is the condition of the bridge just claiming the attention of the authorities, or it has been in that kind of condition for a little while now?
They have been in that condition for a little while. So there was this local human rights group and raised the alarm. The district platform for download headed by one Melvin Kamara in Tierney Town. When he visited Papa district, he was told that bridge was in the deplorable condition. So it was he who raised the alarm, and then the authorities, of Lola Corner and Papa Statutory District immediately sent an assessment team to assess the area, and they found out that indeed the alarm that was used by the human rights group was exactly the right information. So that's why now they are calling on the government to make a speedy intervention so as to avoid or to prevent that bridge from collapsing.
In how much you are talking about the historicity of that bridge? Is it a major route?
Yes, indeed. It is indeed a major route. Mind you, when you get to TNE on the Polka and into what district, there's a straight road leading from TNE up to Mano Wakungu and up to the district seat of Papa. So it's a major route. As I said, that is the hometown of the late Senator Edward Dagosa. In fact, you can be standing in the Papa or Senator Edward, the late Senator Edward Dagosa, and see the bridge is just down the hill. That's too far from the late Senator Edward Dagosa home. So it's been a major route. Most of these stakeholders from Kitma are all from that particular town. So even some of the locals are even calling on their sons and daughters as well to come and see reason to put hands together and see that bridge, because there are many great men and women who are from that particular Damara town.
Okay. Thank you, Otis Camaris, RCR Grand Cape Mount County correspondent. Let's now take this report quickly. Police on Tuesday used tear gas to calm a major protest across Morovia. Thousands of aggrieved citizens took to the streets on Tuesday to protest against what they call police brutality, demanding justice in the killing of a truck driver recently along the Japan Freeway in Canaville, a suburb of Morovia. Magadaris Arcia reporter followed and part in this report.
This was just one of series of demonstrations being held in the country in the past few days. Students of the University of Liberia have been protesting against the e-learning system, while aggrieved marketers in red light Painesville have also been staging demonstrations over a government decision to relocate them to the Ominga market. But Tuesday's protest was in demand of justice for the alleged killing of a truck driver, Aliu Sharif, following tussles with police officers in Monrovia.
Since the incident took place, which we know about, since they gone to us up to question, we have not been receiving any information from the government, nothing about justice. As a community, as a people, as a concerned citizens, to ask the government.
Protesters led by Mark Jabate, Amara Fofana, Ibrahim Keita, and others marched from Gapnesville to the Liberia National Police Headquarters on Capitol Hill and besieged the police headquarters. They also set up roadblocks at a major intersection leading to the seat of the Liberian presidency, the Capitol building, hosting the legislature, and also preventing movement of people to and from central Monrovia. However, the police used tear gas to disperse the protesting crowd, thereby giving way for a negotiation sanctioned by President George Weah, led by Internal Affairs Minister Vani Salif with the protest leaders. Speaking to reporters following the meeting, Minister Salif appealed to the protesters to return home, assuring them of speedy investigation into the death of Aliu Sharif.
Today, this issue concerns all of us, but most primarily the President of the Republic of Liberia, who placed in a call to me that some of our people are aggrieved due to the death of one of your kinsmen. So I want you to go and meet them. So I called the police director. The police director said they were here at the headquarters. And then we came, we had a very good meeting. This investigation will be expedited and will be just. Justice that they need will be given to them. But we cannot do this in the midst of rioting. I want to appeal to them, go home and look to the government, the committee set up, working with the police and working with the Minister of Internal Affairs, Minister of General Minister also here. We will all work together to make sure we get as speedily justice as possible.
Meanwhile, two of the protest leaders, Ibrahim Keita and Amara Fofana, called on the group to leave the streets and gave the government the chance to conduct speedy investigation as promised.
My name is Ibrahim Keita, and I'm one of the lead organizers of this protest against police brutality. And we can let you know that the matter is at hand. The justice that we need, we have been promised that the justice will be served. I am a member of the movement against police brutality. I'm not here only for Ali Sherry. I'm also here for Fatu and other victims. My name is Amara, and we have been mandated to speak on behalf of this group. My colleagues are coordinating. We are all grateful for the intervention of the president. We urge all of our people to remain calm. The life that we lost cannot be given back to us. And justice we are seeking for the late Ali and sister Fatu. We are against police brutality. The media out there, we are being given assurances that the property will be done so that the law can take a course in the soonest possible time. In negotiation is on game and takes it. They are asking us to remain calm. And in speaking to our people, we don't think our members can remain under detention and the team will remain calm.
However, there were reports of several arrests made by the police, but RCR News could not verify whether those arrested were released after negotiation with the protesters. Henson Dega contributed to this report. My name is Margaret Davis for RCR News.
Let's now cross over to the judiciary, where Peter Toby is this afternoon at the Supreme Court, reporting that Councillor Arthur Johnson is seeking the resignation of the Liberia National Bar Association's President, Councillor Tion Conclo, on grounds that he wants to contest the presidency. Let's now talk to Toby. Toby, good afternoon. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Augustine, and good for having me on this analysis this afternoon.
Well, what are we hearing, and why is it that Councillor Arthur Johnson is seeking the resignation of Councillor Conclo, noting for the word that the Constitution provides above 25 years, you are electable to contest that position?
Well, he made a similar statement as you directly said that the Constitution gives every Liberian the right to contest for the political opposition, which of course Councillor Johnson alluded to that. And he said that Councillor Johnson is a fan Liberians as well as the lawyers who have the ability to run for any position. And he also said that he supports him in the fight to be president for Liberia. But according to him, as the president of the Liberia National Bar Association and looking at his statement in recent times, which many term as political, and according to him, the bar play an invaluable role in society. So for one to petition, especially a lawyer and not a ordinary person, the right thing to do is to step aside, because being in the position and with the petition, according to him, is the undermine the independence of the Liberia National Bar Association, looking at the role the bar should be playing in society.
Was he specific with any provision within the LMB Constitution?
Well, according to him, there is no provision is there, but nobody need to tell you and looking at your position and looking at government statement in recent times at several political events, especially where the bar out he is pushing this agenda because he has something on his sleeve. And now for several lawyers to group themselves, calling a team conclude to petition him, he said the best thing to do is to step aside. And even one other lawyer, Anthony Lansing, said that even the petition that was made by the lawyer is not timely, especially at this time, as many who view it different. It's conclude who has stepped aside started in November, where a new leadership should be voted in. Then it will be the best thing for him to announce his presidency or for people to petition him. But for now, according to that other lawyer, Anthony Lansing Smith, he said it's not timely, and the best thing to do is also to step aside. So then I made the view, but another lawyer, Anthony Terrence Bargood, has a different view, and he went directly to the Constitution, that the Constitution gives everyone this right, and according to him, there is no law banning to prevent anybody, especially where they are petitioning and they are yet to accept that position. So there is no law banning anybody to be the president of the National Bar Association. So everybody is saying that there is no problem to that because there is no law that is banning anyone to be petitioned or to run for any public office. So there are mixed views, especially at the ground of the temporary justice. Everyone is discussing the issue that has been raised by Councillor Albert Johnson as well as Anthony Lansing Smith in connection to consider conclude petition in recent time to run for the country's hand office, the president said.
Okay, Toby, we have to hold you there. We do not have the luxury of time to continue with you, but we hope to take you in our subsequent newscast. Folks, on that note, next I would like to leave you on this midweek edition of News and Analysis, a production from the News and Public Affairs Department of the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Just before we take an exit, these are the top stories we've been following this afternoon. A Liberian legal practitioner, Councillor Arthur Johnson, seeks the resignation of the Liberian National Bar Association President, Councillor Tewan Ganglo, following Councillor Jimmy Bumbo's petition for the NA president to contest the country's presidency. A boost for government's road construction program as the Minister of Public Works signs an agreement for the pavement of a 20-kilometer road in southeastern Liberia. Former police head of operations terms series of protests across the country as good sign for the Liberian democracy, but urges protesters to act in line with the law. And elsewhere, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has asked his Tanzanian counterpart to deploy Swahili teachers to help boost Rwanda's efforts in teaching their language, the BBC says. We'd love to say thanks to you for your listening role. Thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, and contributors for making this production a success. Thanks as well to our affiliate radio stations for relaying our news presentation. I've been Augustine Saah for Plugsen, Wednesday afternoon.